Hello everyone, I'm already on the bike. Wow. Why am I so overdressed? Today I want to speak about fast fashion. Okay, so far you're not gonna see why fast fashion and cycling at home with a big wool jacket, but we're gonna go there. It all has started during the Black Friday.
Enthusiasm.
That day I was on Instagram. I was on the Instagram, I was looking around what people have posted. Not necessarily for Black Friday, but I was just there. And Maison Cléo, I don't know if you've ever heard about them, but it's worth having a look on their website. Is a designer who worked together with her mom and local artisan with a very nice savoir faire to create very beautiful collection, sustainable. And that day she posted a picture that was, I believe, around on the internet, where someone has tagged "fuck fast fashion" on the shop window. In the comment below that picture, someone said, "Oh, you're promoting the violence." And the designer said, "Excuse me, what violence are we talking about, you know? I don't promote violence of fast fashion industry that is using people, human beings in poor countries, paying them very low wage and not caring about their health, their safety." We all know what has happened to Bangladesh now. It's hard to say nowadays that one can ignore what is the impact on social and environment. You know, the ethic is very bad. The environment impact, is very bad as well. But then there was another person who said about, but some people don't have the money to afford more expensive item. It's quite common that people argue about the money. Where fast fashion is coming from? When did it start? Thinking about the time when people were experiencing Coca-Cola, and they could drink the same Coke that John Kennedy was drinking.
No matter where you're from.
But I've also read a bit about the fashion industry. Fast fashion is not as young. Not as young as Coca-Cola, I would say. But it's not as old, better say. It came with the 2000, according to Wikipedia. I'm going to be honest, it's not the type of research that I normally do. I like to research more on human behavior, and so I'm not very into historical aspect, and I like to use Wikipedia because it's kind of a very quick information. It's always important to double check, obviously. But it was interesting because whatever they're right or wrong, the turnaround with a date and the 2000, and they say like when suddenly the style boho chic became pretty famous. Isabel Marant was becoming very, for me it reminds me of Isabel Marant. So now here we are, I'm wearing Isabel Marant. This boho chic style is not very new. It comes from like the 70s, and the year 71 has been marked by a very famous or unfamous collection by Yves Saint Laurent called The Liberation, and it has been named as something very ugly by some journalists. Hideous was the word used, and he got inspired by Paloma Picasso. At that time, she couldn't afford buying designers' clothes, so she will thrift in flea market. So yeah, back to the 2000s, this boho chic came back and gave the opportunity to fast fashion to copy. Well, and then it was just the idea of, okay, what can we pick from the runway? What have we seen many times? And we can quick produce. Because of that, the 4 season that we used to have has turned to much more collection than only 4. And runway shows start to get the calendar of fast fashion, and from there most of the designers were just like kind of decision maker, manager, so everything has just worked together to create some clothes from the runway to the fast fashion industry. And they have very low costs on everything, including the people who would make the clothes. So it was just like very easy for them, and a lot of waste, of course, because the overproduction doesn't mean that you're gonna sell everything. So there was a lot of waste, and the clothes that don't last for long, so people would just throw them, or thinking, well, that's not trendy anymore, so I'm not going to wear it anymore, I'm just going to throw it away. And going back to Maison Cléo, Maison Cléo is doing the clothes, the designer with her mom. It's a nice storytelling, but it's also an interesting thing about our culture, because we used to have clothes made by our grandmas, mothers, an auntie, someone who could make it for you. So once you would have something to wear, you would say, oh, my mom did that to me, or my grandma did that to me. And you would have this thing of knowing the value, like having also a personal value in it. You cannot really say, oh, but I cannot afford the brand, like the expensive brand, so I go to these places because I want to look trendy. Nowadays, you're much more free, and there are so many second-hand shops, and you can even find, I've thrifted for very little money, like high designer clothes. This Isabel Marant I'm wearing, I found it in Umena in Barcelona for 40 euros. How much would you have paid for a wool jacket in Inditex? A wool jacket, we're not talking about a fake wool or a polyester. How much would you pay for that? That reminds me, actually, an interesting video Johnny Godard made. It was kind of documentary. People were looking for a job, and he was asking them to valorate. That's what we're talking about, the value, How do you valorate your time, your work? So you would be okay to work, to do this job but not the other job. For example, at some point he was asking them, would you be happy if I ask you to kill somebody and I give you some money? And the person was like, no, I don't want to do that job. And he said, oh, we'll pay you good money. And then after, there were other sort of job and talking about how much someone could earn and how much you could get paid for that. So it was interesting. And I think that's something also we could think when we see, when we touch a product, no? How much could you pay for that? How much could you afford for that? And depending on the generation where you're from, but people, even when you choose fruits, you touch them, you look at them, and you try to see if it has a value, you know. You don't really pick up like this. You do that with what is enclosed in plastic, which is already cut and already given. So that's the fast sort of. But if you have to pick in the basket, you're definitely gonna look, you know. It's gonna be your choice. It's gonna be, and you're gonna enjoy much more that if someone gives you one and say, that's the one, that's for you, that's it. And I think this is what happened with fast fashion. It takes off any option of personality. Of course, one could say, oh, but in there I can have a look of classic girl, I can have a look of more casual girl, or I can mix. Yes, but you still don't have any choice. You don't have any choice because they're gonna give you few cut option, few color option, and between all those few, it's a very big production, very, very big. They don't want to give only to you that option, they want to give it to everybody. When you go in a second-hand shop, there is one piece, there is thousands of looks, there is one option for each cloth you're gonna see, but you have it's your playground, that's your turn. You make your runway, you think about the runway, you pick up what you like, you pick up what suits you, and you don't have to fit into what they think you have to fit. Behind the price, behind the low choice, there are so many people who gonna buy for it. So you think, yeah, but if I want to be trendy, if I want to be part of the group, it calls much more your imagination, your sense of sensibility, your relation to the material, you know, to see, and with the price, if it's worth. You're not gonna be away from the group if you buy something from the second-hand shop. Not at all. Not at all.